Because I know a kid right now that's 15 years old, that's a sophomore by the name of Imani Bates. And if he wanted to declare for the draft this summer, he will be a lottery pick, hands down. So, you know, that one and done rule, I think is great for college, but it's not great for the player.
The league is in a much better place now to handle kids who come into the draft who may not make it right away because of the G League. And that was something that wasn't in place for you guys initially when everybody was coming in. It was kind of like, all right, you either make it in the league or you just go bye-bye. And some kids need that maturity. They need that period. They need that time to grow a little bit more into their bodies, into the lifestyle of the league. And I think the G League is allowing the NBA to feel more comfortable about making this a rule again, like Perk said. But it's time. When you talk to players, it's long past the point where they know the kids need to be able to come in right away from high school and make that decision for themselves.
I completely agree that the G League is going to change the game, really, for guys who can't quite think they can make it, can't quite make it. The NBA has also instituted over these recent years guys getting to be able to be evaluated by agents without and coaching staffs without having to give up their eligibility. So that has helped a little bit with guys more realistic. Can I make it in the league? Can I not make it in the league? But I would say this. I do think if they get rid of one and done, and you guys know I'm no fan of the NCAA taking money that I think belongs to the players, I do think that the NBA needs to put in a pretty strict support structure. It can't just be, yeah, we have programs available. I don't think that will be enough. I think if you were coming straight from high school, I would like to see some sort of mandatory check-ins with a financial counselor, mandatory check-ins with a sports psychiatrist, right? Mandatory check-ins with someone who is going to make sure that life and that adjustment from being a kid. I mean, gosh, some of these high school seniors are 17, being a child. Going into the NBA, I sat down with Zion Williamson this week. He's the fourth youngest player in the NBA. He is 19.
Right.
And he did have that year of college at Duke to sort of be a stepping stone and prepare him for this adult world, but especially the high-profile players we're talking about, right? The guys who everyone would be so excited to come straight to high school. Everyone wants a piece of you, and it is much more than it was when Kevin Garnett came into the league. There's social media, there's a million blogs, there's a million people who can come up to you and say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it for you, kid."
Right.
And I just would like to see the NBA take on, but the NBA takes on a lot of things out of the goodness of wanting people to succeed. I would like them to take that on and put in a mandatory structure in place to get them through that first year.
And Rachel, that's a great point because listen, I was a country kid from Beaumont, Texas. At the age of 18. And I was so excited, I drove to Boston. I didn't even know nothing about shipping a car. I drove 30 hours to Boston. And when I got to Boston, it was like, oh man, I'm in the apartment. Next thing I know, the laundry baskets is filling up. And I had to do a memory check that I didn't even know how to wash clothes.
Right.
Like, my grandparents was taking care of me at the time. I didn't even know how to wash clothes, so I was like, wow, going to the grocery store, I'm thinking, let me get waters and food and snacks. No toilet paper, no paper towels. It's just the little things, you know, and then you're right. And not only the NBA, but the Players Association. I think we could all do a great job as former players as you know, having more structure and getting people in place to guide these young guys for success. Because I seen a lot of guys that came into the league and was one and done just because they didn't have the right guidance. And much credit to LeBron James, because one thing about him, people could say what they want, but he surrounded himself with a great group of guys that was not yes men. Randy, Rich Paul, and Mav, you know, hey, they'll sit down and argue with LeBron. I seen it. They will argue with and tell LeBron, hey, whatever, you can get mad, but that's what you need. You need people to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, you're right. The NBA Players Association, the NBA, they have great programs now. I would just like to see it extend beyond, hey, this is what we have available
Hire some former players
with
to
actual
be able to,
rules in terms of making sure
Absolutely.
that these guys go through their first, maybe even 2 years, with these kinds of mandatory check-ins to make sure that everyone succeeds, which is what we want.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.